Hello, hello, hello. We are back with Singapore this time. This is Tier 1 MFRL Season 4. Um, as I just said, Singapore. Bit late. The game crashed on me, so it was a bit. I had to restart it. Um, but yeah, 20 drivers. Tier 1, as you guys know, from the first few races. Lots of competition. This is the fourth race. Um, Currently, I believe PRIX, Matthias in this case, is leading the championship. Um, right now, we're spectating Debs, who is known for street circuits, so he's quite good. Um, Feels very comfortable, especially in the rain, which is what happened yesterday in Tier 2. Practically qualifying and the whole Grand Prix, there was a bit of a dry, a few dry laps within the Grand Prix, but mainly it was practically just raining all the time, so it was fairly difficult. We'll start off with Debs, which is typically also the first driver that goes on a hot lap. There's a couple of drivers behind him. I think Matthias is the first one, and he does go a bit wide. He's not on a hot lap though. He goes and then moves over for the rest of the drivers. So Debs on a hot lap. I believe Jamie or Chris is on a hot lap as well. Shkobet, he's usually quite early as well. There's also Clinton, which is Lanza. Ooh, as he spins around, bit of a cold tire issue probably. There is a driver coming right behind him, which I believe is Chris. Oh, no, that's Lewis. Moves over for him, and everything seems to be okay there. So, um, yeah, we are in Q1. As you guys know, in Season 4 we did change over to the tree qualifying setup, so now we're pretty much used to it. Fairly long. We are seeing purple sectors already being held very close to the limits there by Debs, so you can just about tell how tight Singapore is. It has the most amount of corners from any track. I believe it is 27, if I'm not mistaken. So a very technical track. Lots of places where you can gain or lose time. Debs being very close to the wall there, almost ruining his chances for another qualifying session. Currently, 137.5 is the fastest lap, which, fun fact, is faster, obviously, than any qualifying time that has been done this weekend. Quite fast, almost as fast as time trials. So, still more time to gain, as we all know. Probably will go into the 136s as well. Chris, the second person to put a time in, 138.1. A bit far off from Debs, but not as far off as Lewis, his teammate, 139.1, about a second off. Ronskis next across the line, 139.3, not bad from him. I assume the midfield is going to be 138, maybe with the lower drivers going into 139s as well. So still a lot to improve, as we've seen from Debs this time, but yeah, we'll see. I believe Trix is also on a hot lap. He can definitely go a bit closer to that curb there, but he's setting up some time. Looks to be having a pretty downforcey setup. He can ride the curbs pretty well, and the car isn't really being unsettled. Lots of more times coming in. Alex, Lesio, 137.8, and Jamie with a 137.9. Not a bad lap from him at all. Sam, Mystic Mine, 138.8, fairly slow from what we've seen. Luke with a 140.2, and SpaceX with a 138.9. Still a lot more in those laps. So I think Matthias is going to be the next one to be crossing the line. And then after that, maybe Andrew. So Matthias does put in a current fastest lap, about 2.5 tenths faster than Debs. Andrew about to start his hot lap. Bertha with a 140.7. I believe that was a hot lap, but he needs a lot more in it to be able to get out of Q1. Sheldon has not set a time yet. Neil, who's currently streaming for Patina Cares, which is a very good initiative from him. Basically, it is a non-profit organization in Malta who takes care of people going through certain illnesses. So, a very nice, thing to do from me there. So, we also have Raffers, which typically we don't see him staying too long in doing these laps. He's currently finishing it up. So, 11 minutes remaining, and no one is on the medium tires, which is also quite surprising. Very fast throughout that corner, crosses the line and puts it in P7. Andrew, guy up ahead, also finishing his lap. We do have some yellow flags, but that's just cars going fairly slowly. Ooh, very wide, even took that curb. Was that someone in the wall? Who's that? Yeah, that was SpaceX straight into the pit entry wall. I saw that, and then I don't know exactly what happened. So Sheldon still have not set a time. Currently in his outlap, about to set a time. We can maybe go do a track guide with him. Neil also started his outlap but ended up invalidating. So Sheldon beginning his time into the first corner. You go straight into a DRS zone. So if you have, if you're within 1 second to the guy up front and it's not the first 2 laps, then you do get DRS going to the start-finish line. Into the first 3 corners, very technical. You can basically cut the first corner and try to get a good exit around the second and third, going straight onto the 4th corner here, which you get another DRS zone, which is very famous for some people cutting the apex there. Then you go into the 5th corner. You can basically cut that corner on the left, going into a very tight right-hander, which is the 6th corner. Need to get a lot of traction here because that's where you gain or lose time. Going into the 7th corner, also pretty tight left-hander. You can cut this chicane as well. You try to not unsettle the car, going into a small hairpin onto the bridge, which is the 7th, and 8th onto the very tight Singapore hairpin, onto the last or second DRS zone. You don't gain much. Not a lot of overtakes will be happening there. But you know, it at least puts you ever so slightly closer to the opponent. Going into let's say underneath the bridge now, also cutting the corner as Sheldon is doing. Try to carry the speed all the way to the final sector. Here, pretty good traction coming from Sheldon. You try to carry as much speed going into the final corner onto the DRS into the finish line. Bit rusty from the commentary there, but it's a it's too much. I think too many corners. Like I said, around 27, I believe. So there's just a lot to do. So let's see how Sheldon is doing. How Neil is doing. He's in the pit, so he did not go for a second run. He has 7 minutes to try and put in a lap. An attempt to get out of Q1, I believe, for the second time. He made it to Q2, but I would like to see him into Q3. See maybe what he can do there. Ian, currently with a 1:13.9 in his outlap as well. I haven't seen much from him. Luke, currently 18th place, 1:40.2. Still a lot more to improve. There's a McLaren off, which I believe is Sheldon. He has a front wing out. That McLaren does not look nice without a wing. So a lot of people now also bundling up in traffic. So already a lot of cars out on track. So Ian, first car to try and improve his gap from the cars behind. Keep in mind, only 5 cars get eliminated from Q1 and then your contrays in Q2. So if you are 15th place, it's definitely important. It's definitely important to try and extend that gap because, well, typically it means you're very so slightly closer to the person behind you. As you can see, between Ian and Jack, there's only about 2 tenths. I mean, 2 direct tenths. So if Jack manages to get those 2 tenths, you basically drop out of qualifying and you can't race again. There's another McLaren off. Oh, as you can see in the wall there, that's Sheldon waiting for his teammate to pass him underneath the bridge, and his teammate now goes off. Both wings are off. I don't. Oh wow, that's surprising. I did not expect that from both the McLarens. Not having the best day, but as you can see, another thing that you need to kind of cater for is the fact that the Singapore Grand Prix is held at night, so the temperatures aren't quite up there, and you need to surprising how shit this game is. They managed to implement something like this, but temperatures do drop. They're hard. The tires are harder to maintain. They do get colder because of the track temperature, and obviously it's easier to spin out if they're cold. Currently, Clinton, who's in 10th place, currently setting a fastest sector. Not the first time this man has been on pole, so let's see if he can do it again on a street circuit. Currently in the Red Bull, had some drama. There's an Alfa Romeo stuck up front. I believe that's Jack in between the bridge, so I hope he gets to move very quickly. Where is Clinton? There you go. Currently doing quite well. As you know, that bridge, that corner is very tight. He does not, I believe, get room in space from the drivers behind. Currently with 2 purple sectors, so this lap seems to be a banger. Clips the curb a bit there. Lots of speed carrying into that corner. That was a great move by him. Can cut that chicane a little bit more, and you can carry more speed onto sector 3 here. I don't know if he's gonna manage to pull off a 1 or a provisional pole in Q1 here. All the deploy was used, and he only manages for 7th fastest. Not the best laps. He's not having the best days, I believe. For some reason, I do not think this is illegal, by the way, as the Alpha Tauri spins in front of him. That kneel. Obviously that was Clinton trying to avoid everyone behind him, trying to not ruin their pace. So that's why he went off track. That is perfectly legal. Now is the time where we see some cars retiring, because obviously they do not need to put in another lap. Neil, however, definitely needs to be putting a faster lap than he is. I know he's capable of more than 140, but he needs to save up that ERS again. And I'm not currently seeing it go up. You have to brake more, Neil. Try to get that ERS up and then go for another lap straight after. So he's not having the best of days. He has more pace than this, but a lot more to improve. I'll focus on the bottom 5, since they're the ones that definitely have to put in a lap and definitely have to improve. I do believe, is Clinton on another fast lap? I do not think so. No, he's not. So he's going into the pits and then retiring. Lewis, though, still wanting better pace. He believes that the rest of the grid, into the 139s, 140, have a chance of beating him, so I don't blame him for doing another lap here. Some yellow flags from sector 3. I think that's Neil going in, and I do not believe he has enough time to come out again. We'll have to wait to see what he is doing. There's an Alpine. I think that's Lewis, unfortunately. who does not manage to improve on his time. So lots of cars coming in through now, so he definitely needs to just sit tight for now, waiting for that Alfa Romeo to pass him, and then he can move right over. Does not manage to improve. Not a lot of ERS in it as well, and he has about a minute to get back into the line, maybe recover some of that ERS, and maybe, just maybe, try to improve on his time. We'll see what Neil is gonna do. Hasn't come out yet. There's definitely not enough time for him, so that's unfortunately it for Neil's qualifying session. He needs to sit out 2 more qualifyings, and then maybe gets or gives the Grand Prix a crack. Runza, that's Sheldon, with a 138.7 manages to get out of Q1, as we know he can. And lots of cars coming into play now. Ian, currently the top driver, that's putting in a lap. 35 seconds remaining, so now this is where things can get heated. There's a Red Bull off as well. I think that's Clinton. Is it Clinton? Just going slowly, so nothing crazy. So we see Luke on his hot lap, definitely improving. I think it's the first person who will end up crossing the line, apart from Ian, who's currently on a hot lap himself, onto the end of Sector 3, but I do believe he's going into the pits. He's about 5 seconds slower, so that will be the end of Ian's qualifying, which he does make it through Q1, so that's definitely good. We'll go on to Luke, first person that will be crossing the line, and then I believe there is a McLaren off, which is Sheldon. At least he does not need to be making another lap from him. Trying to stay put, not ruin anyone else's qualifying. Jack as well, trying to improve on his current hot lap, so this is fine. Is that Berthu off? That is it for Berthu as well. So that's 19th and 20th place all done and dusted. Luke, only person, or one of the person that can be improving on his time. He will cross the line and he will put in 14th place. Very, very close from him. Let's see if Andrew can be improving. I think there's Jack in front of him. Next one to be crossing the line. Let's see if he can get out of Q1 into Q2. He goes 15th place, pushes Lewis out. So he definitely needed that lap. Andrew also crosses the line, does not manage to improve enough. Only 5/10, which still puts him in P18. Ronskins also the next to be crossing the line, also improves and does go P12. That's nice to see from him. So that unfortunately pushes Jack out of qualifying as well. So Jack, Lewis, Andrew, Berthu and Neil, the first 5 to get eliminated from Q1. Matthias and Debs looking very, very tight up there, so we'll see what they can do in Q2. We'll see you then. into Q2. 15 minutes this time around, so players need to be on their A game here in order to get into Q3. As you can see, at least 5 cars already coming out of the pit lane here. 6, 7, practically everyone um, coming out. Their setups should already be done, so obviously you don't really need to do much when you're in the garage. But Matthias, first driver to be coming out. Runza ahead of him. You can see everyone coming out of their garage slot, which is a bit tense. I mean, if someone does make a mistake in front of you, um, you know, you could be the receiving end of that. So typically I like to wait a bit, but keep in mind, obviously, there is less time to be doing these laps. I never had the opportunity to play in the 3 qualifying setup, unfortunately. Um, I'm meant to be racing in Tier 1, but obviously due to a couple of issues, we can't. So when the time comes, I'll be able to obviously give you guys more insight on maybe how the drivers feel, um, and you know, maybe how tense things can get. So yeah, but a lot of drivers, Matthias does end up taking the lead as the first driver to be doing his hot laps. So we'll see, lots and lots of cars bundled up right side by side. Debs really likes to be on edge here for some reason, slowing down a bit, trail braking on the straight for some reason. You can see at the bottom right, you can see just about how Debs is using that throttle and using that brake to slow the car but try to not unsettle us as well. So Matthias, first person to be on a hot lap currently. Runza right behind him. You can just about see how these drivers do take the first 3 corners. Runza a bit wide there, but Debs, I do believe, will give you a better representation here. So you cut the first corner, onto the second, very close to the apex, onto the third as well, very close to the apex. I don't know who had a yellow flags, but everyone should be a-okay up to now. You can see all that speed that Debs is carrying throughout the 4th corner there. There is a yellow flags, which I do believe is Chris. Nope, I believe that's Ronskins. Yes, it is. I don't know if that wing is okay, but he does move scoot over for the next drivers. Now the Mercedes as well, looking to seems to be going strong fairly well. Ronskins is just sitting on the side there, trying to not invade anyone's lap. So go on to Matthias, who's currently obviously setting purple sectors. No one has taken them from him as of yet. He cuts that corner very much so. So going in under the bridge now onto sector 3. As you know, very technical. I usually like to be on higher gears there. He got a lot of corners here. Usually when I do it, the car gets unsettled, but these are drivers who are way faster than me. So the time to beat currently is 1:36.8. Very, very fast. I thought that would be a Q3 time, but apparently not. Runza with a 1:39.4. A lot to improve from him. Ian, next driver to be crossing the line, 1:40.1. I think that's Debs behind him. 1:37.7. Still a lot more to improve. And Alex with a 1:37.6 as well. Still a lot more to improve. Some yellow flags, people going slowly. I think that's Sam, who's about to start his hot lap, pretty late from everyone else. Still will probably encounter slower traffic ahead, but we'll stick with him for a while and see what he can do. Brendan on his hot lap as well, still having touches the wall there. Sam, as you know, he is the only driver on controller, does it fairly well from his own side, but on tracks like Singapore, it can be very, very tricky. He has, I believe, the second or third fastest time trial in Singapore, so he knows that he can do a fairly quick lap on controller, but obviously this has been a few months ago. I don't know how consistent he's been with that time, but still, this seems like a pretty good lap, so we'll definitely want to be making it into Q3 Not the first time he has. Some yellow flags up ahead, but nothing that should worry him. There's a couple drivers as well going fairly slowly. Might help him with a small tow, but they need to be scooting over any second now. Going into the third and final sector. Very close to the walls there, going underneath the bridge. Does not cut that apex all that much, but up to now, nothing that I'm seeing that should. Oh, invalid. There's a Williams off. I think that's Debs going into the final corner. Mystic Mind doing very well to just continue that pace and not let whatever issue Debs was having ruin his mojo, his momentum. So he did fairly well. 137.84 Sam. Puts him up to P6, which, as you know, is enough to get into Q3, but I'm pretty sure these times will get a bit closer coming into their final hot lap here. So Brendan with a 137.9, Runza definitely needs to be improving on that time, and I think Jamie crossing the line now, and he puts it up into P8. A big difference going from P8 all the way up to P7, so about a second, more than a second, 1.1 seconds. So those drivers need to be improving. One of them being Rothers, which we don't really see all that often. Him being all the way down in P11 currently in the elimination zone, but obviously still 8 minutes to go. He's currently going to start his hot lap, and we'll see. We'll go for a lap with Raffles here. We don't usually do it with Raffles. I think he deserves a bit of spotlight here. Going into the first corner, as we know. Second and third, very clean from Rafi Blessed there. That's a little bit of an inside jump, going very close to that white line. Goes a bit wide onto the fifth corner. So I don't know if that lost him any time, but that's the end of Sector 1, and he's currently purple sector. As I said, very smooth from Raffers coming into this. So he has the time, hopefully the pace across the whole Grand Prix, the whole lap of Singapore to be getting maybe a provisional pole or at least a P2. Cuts that corner quite nicely there. As you can see, you still do get. You don't get that track limits. That McLaren is up ahead, so you can see just about how it can ruin your momentum. But Raffers does well to avoid that McLaren, who still has not moved as of yet. Doing some burnouts. We'll go back onto Raffers, try to not lose. He's on a purple sector too. I don't know if that's a bug or if he genuinely has it, but he seems to be doing a pretty nice lap here. Very close to that bridge. I know he sees green, and that may panic him a little bit. Going into sector 3, only a few corners to go. Raffers, he's doing very well to carry all that speed onto the final corner. Now he cuts it onto 5th, 6th, crosses the line, and only P8. Wow! I feel like that was a heck of a lap, and I don't feel like he got rewarded for it. Matthias, already the first car to retire. Not even 6 minutes left, and he's like, I don't need to do another one. That's definitely McLaren in the wall though, retired and going inside the pit lane. I don't know. Yep, you can see the car just at the pit entry there. He did not retire the car. He just spun out in the pit entry. Pretty tricky there. Also with the pit entry, you have a couple curbs that if you do go on, you may beat the car or you may unsettle it in this case. So that's Sheldon. Currently not outside of in the elimination zone, but drivers can do it. I mean, 1.1 seconds. Runza, Ian, Luke, Ronskins, and SpaceX needs to be improving at least. And Runza does a small mistake there, that probably losing him a couple of tenths. He needs to be improving because I don't think there's time for another lap here. He does not give up, so I don't think he lost a lot of time, but still not ideal from him. If Sheldon makes it through to Q3, I'll be impressed here. 1.1 seconds at least and SpaceX needs a bit less than that, around 8/10. And I do believe that he's on a hot lap. Yes, he is, but not enough ERS to make it through. It could be his out lap as well. It probably is, in fact. We'll see. Runza is improving by about 1/10. Probably not enough for him to get out of the elimination zone, though. Cuts that corner, unsettles the car a bit, and he kind of jumps up. His teammate, though, he goes in the pits, even though he was improving. His teammate does push Sheldon outside of Q2, so that's unfortunately the end of Q2 or qualifying for Sheldon. Runza is going to take the gamble, use probably a new set of tires, and give it a final go here. Try to get out of Q2 himself. As you can see there, ooh, you can just about unsettle the car. I know that pit limiter is also in the wrong position, so it's actually on the second line. You can keep that in mind, and you can use that to your advantage. We see Jacob there locking up because, you know, the game tells you that it's in the first line when it isn't. We haven't seen Luke in qualifying yet. Oh, that's Debs with a 136.4. That's a heck of a lap. I did not even see that coming. Wow. I didn't even know he was doing a hot lap, Debs. Sneaky he is. That's a beautiful lap from him. 136.4. He definitely has it in him to beat Matthias here. He hasn't had the perfect luck going into Brazil. And now he responds to PRIX by retiring the car himself. He tells him, I can also put in that lap. And it's proving to be a heck of a season between these two drivers. There's always been respect, but obviously the competition is there. As we can see, the Williams just stopping by the braking zone, braking area. I don't really know what to call it, but not a lot of drivers out on track currently. We'll see, maybe, I think SpaceX, yep, also coming out to do another lap. Jamie definitely wants to be improving, and he currently is, I believe, on his current line. He does not want to be in, let's say, the riskiest position, 10th place, because people can take it away from him. Namely, Luke, which is about 5/10 away from him. Jamie setting a purple sector 2, I believe. But as we all know, there is a slight bug where it shows purple sectors when indeed they're just personal best. So Jamie cuts that corner and goes on the apex perfectly underneath the bridge, going into the final sector. All good up till now. It seems to be improving. Will cross the line now, and we'll see what time he can be moving. He puts it up to P4. That's a nice lap from him. We can safely assume that he will be going into Q3 and out of Q2. Runza, I think, also giving it a final go here. 1 minute remaining. There's another 5 cars that need to be improving here. Ian currently in risk to be eliminated. If anyone from SpaceX, Runza, or Ronskins pushes them out. So this is kind of hectic between the house drivers, because if Runza gets out of Q2, he pushes his teammate out of Q2. So we'll see what they can do. Ian will not be improving. Sheldon, being DNF, will also not be improving. And Luke also gave up on those times. We see the Mercedes there, I believe, of Jamie retiring. Likes to retire in that spot. And we'll see what Runza can do with his final hot lap here. Ronskins, straight behind him, has not set a time yet. So we'll see if he can get 1 lap and get out. But that will be, unfortunately, the end of qualifying for Ronskins. We can see him doing a small donut. He better move out of the way for Ronskins. He does not! And that kind of unsettles the momentum for SpaceX. He desperately needs time to get out of Q2, so if he does it, I will be impressed. Clips that curve, does not get the best exit, so I do believe that he won't be coming out. Runza, the only person that maybe coming out of Q2 here by pushing his teammate back in the elimination zone. We'll see what Runza can do going into the final corner here. Try to carry all that speed. Some ERS left, so that will definitely be used up. Crosses the line and does push his teammate out of Q2. So that's unfortunately, but fortunately, I guess, some teammate drama there. SpaceX, the only person left, he is improving, but not enough to go out of the elimination zone there, so he is out of Q2. Bit of drama rising. I can definitely feel it now. We'll wait for Q3 to see what it has in store for us. But yeah, Ian, Sheldon, Luke, SpaceX, and Ronskins, the 5 drivers to be out of Q2 for the time being. We'll see you in Q3. And we are back into Q3. Drivers, I believe, taking it a bit more slowly here. And honestly, I do believe we can see practically everyone that I would have thought would be in Q3. I think for the first time, the top 10 drivers of MFRL meet in the same playing ground. Let's put it that way. All very fast drivers here. Matthias coming out of the pit lane. So this can honestly go either way. I assume Debs, Matthias, or Clinton. Could be even Alex taking pole position. I think those are the fastest for sure. SpaceX probably having issues there, leaving the lobby, but he'll probably join back. So yeah, this is interesting. I think this is the first time that I've seen the top 10 drivers, top 10 grid, meet up like this. So I assume that these times are going to be very close to each other. Probably a tenth at least of one driver and another. So we'll see how it goes. Everyone on the outlap. Some sound bug there. I do believe Runza, the first person to go out. I think he likes to be the first person that goes out because that means that he doesn't really encounter traffic up ahead unless someone is coming out late from the garage. Ralphers taking it easy, still in the garage. Hopefully not AFK, but Runza, first person to start his hot lap, and then there's also Sam right behind him. So we'll stick to Runza. Hopefully he can improve. A bit unsettling from the rear there, and again onto the third corner there, going into the fourth and fifth corner here. Tries to carry as much speed as possible, and seemed like a good first sector till now, but this is where it gets tricky. Sector 2 and Sector 3, he needs to be pushing his pace a little bit, especially if he wants to get a good position into Q3. Top 10 is still already very good, but you obviously always want more positions at the start and trying it even more on the starting line or on the grid slot. But right now seems to be fairly good. A bit wobbly there on the bridge, so that probably loses him a couple of tanks, as Raffers is moving over in order not to let people, there's a Mercedes behind Raffers, which I hope Raffers will be moving. He does move, does not really, I don't know the word. For some reason it's not coming to my mind and out of my mouth. So avoids any sort of infringement with Jamie, let's put it that way. So back to the drivers. Runza, first one to be crossing the line in the 138, so that's, I mean, definitely can be improving. I think Sam, straight behind him, gets provisional pole for now, 137.4. Chris, is that behind him? Yes, will cross the line. Another fastest lap, 137.4, a whole tent behind him. Debs, 136.4. He does the same exact lap he did before. Alex, 137.1. Not bad, his fastest personal best, but still far off from the top 10 drivers. Matthias, not happy with his lap, so he is going in the pits. Well, he is invalidated, so I would have assumed it was also in the 136s, so he's pretty mad he couldn't put a lap in. Brendan, 137.6. Did I see that right? Yep, 137.6. He puts it 5th fastest in front of Jamie. So Sam holding on to 4th position, still very good, only 11 milliseconds away from 3rd place. He'll definitely be hoping to get a jump start on Chris during the start, but I'm pretty sure Matthias still has a lot to improve. Clinton as well still probably have a lot to improve, and also Raffers, so they'll definitely be fighting to be at the top there. I think Raffers, yep, currently on his fastest lap. We saw him move over on his out lap. Last fastest lap, which I was impressed with, was a 138, so not the best lap from Raffers. We'll see if he can get at least into the 137s and tries to complete in the midfield of the top 10 grid slot. So we'll see what they can do. Clinton, 137.7, hasn't been the best qualifying from him. He's usually one of the top 4 drivers, so seems to be struggling in the street circuit of Singapore. Raffers carrying a lot of speed there onto the final corner. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. It seems like it's a pretty good lap. ERS still not being used fully, but I won't be surprised if he's out and not into the 137s, but he is 137.7. Not a bad lap from him. Sam and Brendan both still ahead though, and Raffers 25 milliseconds faster than Clinton there. So as you can see, these times are very, very close to each other. Matthias in the pit lane has not really bothered to come out for his next hot lap. He's like, I only need one. I don't know if there's, I mean, there's a couple out lap, but I think Clinton as well. He's not, yeah, he's in his in lap, so. Not a lot much to say into Q3. Everyone's pretty clean. Keep in mind, these are the top 10 drivers, at least of MFRL, and there's at least 2 I can name who's probably in the top 100s of the world. So their times do compete. So we'll see what Matthias can do. He still has not come out. I don't know, if it was me, I'd want to get a bit of I don't know how to say it, a bit of clean air in order not to have anyone bother me while I'm on the hot lap. We can see the Ferrari there going out on the 4th minute. We can also see Runza in Haas coming out. A bit of a drama thing going on with the Haas pairing there. Ian being out of qualifying and into Q3, and then Runza tells him, I'm sorry, no, I still have my own lap, there's no mercy, and he takes it away from him. So he's definitely feeling a bit guilty um, in that department. But as we all know, Formula 1 drivers are a bit selfish, so that's how you gotta be. Maybe I'm taking it a bit too seriously when I describe the drivers, since it's just a game. But still, there are prizes to be won, and this is a league, and you want to be the best of the best. So you see their rooms are moving over for Alex, which I believe is his previous teammate in the Ferrari. So Alex waving his old teammate goodbye, telling him, haha, I still have your car. Bit of drama. I like to create a bit of drama, a bit of tension between these drivers. So, 3 minutes left into Q3. We basically have one final hot lap for each of the drivers. Everyone seems to be coming out. And now Alex seems to be the first person to want to give another go for his hot lap, which rightfully so he should. Matthias will definitely be looking to drop him another place, and 137.1 is good, but not good enough for Alex. He needs to be improving 7/10, which is a lot on Singapore. He needs to be improving at least 7/10 here to be getting on the front row. We can see him almost aiming his car at the Williams of Debs, trying to get as much straight line speed as he possibly can. Every millisecond counts here, and right now he's carrying his speed. He's carrying the speed of the car fairly well, very close as well to that wall. Try to get as close as possible. Debs there moving over now for Runza, who is also, I believe, on a hot lap. He definitely does not want to be in 9th place. We'll see what Alex can do first, though. There's a pretty large gap between the drivers, so I think we can follow everyone through here. 1 minute remaining. I'm sure everyone else of the drivers are watching them fight it out on the battlefield. Ooh, bit of a lock-up there from Alex. I don't know if that lost him a heck of a lot of time, but I do believe that he is improving on his current time here. Onto sector 3, he carries a lot of speed there underneath the bridge. Goes onto this chicane, onto the final corner, very early on the throttle. I think it's a good lap. He crosses the line. It will be in the 136s, and he goes 136.4. 1 millisecond away from pole position. Oh, he's gonna be gutted. He's furious at that. That's the first time I've ever seen it. I've ever seen anything like that. 1 millisecond away from pole position. That is infuriating. Wow, Runza, he does get, I think, a final run. Only enough for 8th place. Now I can't follow anyone anymore. That's insane coming from Alex. He was like, I can improve, I can get 7/10. Only 1 millisecond away from Debs. Chris, only enough for P3. I mean, only, still very good from him. I think there's Raffers as well on his hot lap. The next one to be crossing the line, going into the final corner. Let's see if he can get 1 millisecond off Alex's time now. Goes on to the final corner, 137, does improve, gets 4th place. Fairly good from him, I think. The Red Bull of Clinton now, also going into the final corner. Tries to carry as much speed and holds traction there on the final, and only enough for 7. That's fairly low from Clinton there. Matthias has not put in a time yet. His teammate Brendan goes up to P3, pushes Raffers down to P5. PRIX, can he get pole position? He will cross the line, and he gets P3. About 2 tenths. I'm still on milliseconds at the moment. 2 tenths away from the next driver ahead. And that marks the final time for qualifying. That must be infuriating for Alex. I feel so gutted for him. But that was a heck of a performance. He just needs to focus on getting the jump start on Debs, because track position here is extremely important, and being 1 millisecond off the pace is insane. I don't even know what to say. We'll see you in the Grand Prix. And we are back for the Grand Prix now. The drivers are preparing their setups and their race strategies. Bit of a drama case for the 3 qualifying sessions. We had something entertaining, I think, in all qualifying sessions, which is nice to see. Just gonna go through what happened for the people maybe joining now. We get into Q3. I think the most entertaining part was Neil. Unfortunately, unable to put in a lap, but he is streaming in the background. But so maybe focused on that part of the thing. If you don't know, he is streaming for charity. So if you want to go watch that, whilst also watching MFRL, feel free to do so. Lots of drivers streaming as well. Some of them being Sam, Rafaris, Debs, I believe as well. So lots of top tier drivers streaming in the background, where you can watch their individual POVs, and it will be exciting. So that's into Q3, 5 drivers, obviously, or Q1, 5 drivers being out of the first qualifying session. Onto the second qualifying session. Some pretty close racing, nothing so dramatic, but a couple drivers also being very, very close to the race. Most entertaining thing, probably Brunza pushing his own teammate out uh, into the elimination zone. Going into Q3 then, which was probably the most hectic between the top two drivers, which in this case were Debs and Alex, who were 1 millisecond away from each other. So that's, I think, the first time it happened. We've had equal times between drivers, but we haven't had them 1 millisecond apart. And as we all know, Singapore's track position is extremely important. There's only one real place where you can really overtake a person, and let's say if they don't look on their side, you may be out of it. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say there. So there's only one real place where you can overtake. Everyone needs to be aware of what's happening around them. We'll see what everyone has in store for us. The drivers are ready now. We have 5 lights. We'll see who's gonna get the best car. For some reason there's a Red Bull just stopped! In the background, Debs gets I don't know what happened there. I don't know. Clinton for some reason just didn't start. I don't know if he just stalled or just forgot about the wheel for some reason, but there is, I don't know if that's Sheldon or Raffers. No, definitely not Raffers. I think that's Jack, who unfortunately does not have a wing. So Debs does keep his first place position, and Alex does keep his second. Matthias up to P3. Brandon as well. We'll see a couple of tires here, and we'll see what people have. So a lot of people on hards, a lot of people on mediums, fairly equal between the grid. Alex looking to really attack Debs with those medium tires, which I do not believe is the right strategy, but we'll wait and see what will happen. Also, the Mercedes already next to each other. We'll see a lot of people now onto the bridge. Very close racing between Sheldon trying to attack Jamie there, trying to get a better exit, and Jamie probably already using a lot of his DRS. He is not. He just has a better setup for the straights. So the McLaren probably has a better setup for the corners, which, as we can see, he's trying to make use of, let's put it that way. So right now this is probably the hardest time to keep in mind, and there is a yellow flag. I don't know who's going down. That's Chris, which I seem to cannot, I can't follow. He just missed his braking zone, I think. No damage to that car, but he does drop a lot of places. We'll see maybe if there is some position changes. There is a few. Chris and Clinton 12 positions down, so qualifying didn't really matter there. Jamie seems to be having some damage, and also obviously Jack, no wing, did not see Clinton stalling there, and Clinton I think going to change tires. I don't know if he has, yep, he's changing that front wing. I don't know how he has to change the front wing from the front, but three drivers already with damage in the Singapore Grand Prix. Jamie, first person to come out of the pits here. Going long, going on the hard tires, we can see a lot of people losing positions here. Chris, which is previously known as Shkabet, losing positions, but no damage to that car. It seems like he just missed his braking zone going into the garage underneath the bridge there. So now looking to attack the Red Bull of Andrew. Shkabet being one of the faster drivers, really showing how difficult it can be to make overtakes happen in Singapore. I think he has a good opportunity to improve on the other drivers. We'll see what obviously he can do, but we'll go on board with him and see if he can make this move happen at least. Ooh, that's a really nice corner there. Going before the bridge. Alex with a 141.2, really trying. He already did attack Debs. I did not see that, unfortunately. DRS will be enabled, but Debs may have made a small mistake. He's 1.6 seconds away from Alex, and he's ever so slightly reducing that that time, increasing that time in this case, because now he needs to be defending from Matthias, who even the first time we had a mishap or a battle going on between these two. As we can see with the braking zone, getting very, very close. That's a... Ooh, that's Jack off. That's another wing going out for Jack. And I believe he did hit his rear wing as well. So I wonder what sort of damage that car is in. Is that Jamie in the pits again? That's another wing for Jamie. This has not been a good Grand Prix for him as well. Clinton still doing well. No safety cars as of yet. And Debs 2.2 seconds away from Alex. So if Alex keeps up this pace, this is the last thing he wants, is a safety car. There, Debs, you can see, going very wide. I don't know if that's track limits. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell us. We can see Lewis up 6 positions, has not made any sort of mistake here, and looking to go a few more places up. Sam up only 1 position. He's in P6 at the moment. Jack is the first car to be retiring here. He did retire, I believe, in the pits, so that's all good from him. Alex still setting fastest lap after fastest lap. 2.2 seconds between these drivers, and in reality, this is exactly what you need from those medium tires, Alex. So that's probably where all the pace is coming from. I mean, if you do have hard tires, keep in mind, it could be a nice strategy coming in from Alex. So I'll correct myself. If there's one safety car and he manages to pit for the hard tires, he'll have prime position. And as long as he stays first, it may need, I mean, as long as he stays first, and there's only one safety car, I think he's in a safe position to win this Grand Prix. Lewis, then, first person to be exceeding track limits multiple times, so he will get a 3-second time penalty. We'll see Matthias getting very, very close to Debs here, looking to attack on him. He does have DRS, keep that in mind, and only 5/10 away from Debs. Debs looks to be having maybe lower front wings. So he's doing fairly well to hold on to him. Sam as well, less than a second away from the driver up front, which is Rafa. Is that a Red Bull out as well? I don't know if that is Clinton. I think hitting the wall. That wing looks okay. I don't know exactly what happened, but Clinton not his best race as of yet. Alex, I think he's set 4 fastest laps in a row. He's really pushing that Ferrari here. That's nice to see. 3 seconds ahead of the pack. Again, these yellow flags are probably panicking him a little bit, because the last thing he would want right now is a safety. So, we're doing well to hold on. Matthias now getting very, very close to Debs, closer than he was at any other lap. Very nice exit from Matthias there, getting much closer now. 2/10 splitting these two drivers. This reminds me of myself and Giuseppe. And as you know, in Singapore it's very hard to still take that position. So I think Matthias needs a heck of an exit here in order to take that position from Debs. Another yellow flag. Is that Lewis? It's not Lewis, but it is Chris. Another front wing is out. Trying to recover that car, but unfortunately for Ferrari here, no safety car as of yet, so only wings being broken. I don't know of anyone else who might have damage. The Aston Martin's doing very well to hold on to each other. Brendan, obviously. Oh, more yellow flags. Is that Lewis now? Not Lewis, but there's Chris, who's retired. I don't know if he's trying to gave up on the Grand Prix, or maybe there was more issues that we weren't aware of, but that's Chris retiring in 19th place. He had a pretty good qualifying, but not the best of Grand Prix. That's Clinton Yep, Clinton is already lapped in six wow, in 6 laps. We can see Alex, just a pure pace that he has, already lapping Clinton here, which is disappointing because if he ends up being lapped by the rest of the drivers, which he might be, he'll be out of the Grand Prix as well. There would be no way for him to get unlapped and then obviously back to the pack. That's Lewis improving though, up another position, up on Ian. There's the Haas driver pairing there, fighting. I think Runza did drop a few places. He definitely was. He did start 8th place, and he's now up to 11th, so or down to 11th. So not the best start he would have wanted either. So Alex, 3.5 seconds. We're trying to keep this fight going between the drivers. Neil, from last place though, is up to 16th, so it's not entirely bad from him. He's doing fairly well to hold on to these drivers. Andrew seems to be on his radar now, trying to push back. Is that... Oh, that's Luke. That's Luke, who may have gotten some damage on his front wing. It does not look like it, but there was a yellow flag being caused, and I can imagine from Alex's point of view, was just seeing yellow flag after yellow flag after yellow flag. There's Clinton going slowly. He's trying to move over for the faster drivers up ahead. But yeah, like I was saying, I can just about imagine Alex's reaction where he's seeing yellow flag after yellow flag after yellow flag, knowing how common it is for a Singapore safety car to come out, or a safety car in Singapore to come out. But I think these tier 1 drivers really showing us why they're in tier 1. There's no real mistakes that I'm seeing, or big mistakes that I'm seeing, and I think Runza is not really pushing the car as much as he wanted, but he is using some of that ERS, which his teammate is not using as much. So no team orders in the Haas department, but still losing time from the car ahead. So Lewis in an impressive night at the moment. Not a bad start from him at all. Neil, next drivers pairing, I think. Runza does get the position now on his teammate. I think there was some type of team order there, but as we were saying, Neil, next driver to be attacking. Here, 3/10 away from the next person, which is the Red Bull driver, who goes a bit wide there. And Neil really looking to attack on the Red Bull. He goes a bit wide there. He wants to get a better exit than the car up front. Upshifts early. DRS will be open, so he will get ever so slightly closer to the car up front. 7/10, not close enough to be getting a better exit and getting that position. We'll go back to Matthias, who is serving us a pretty nice battle in the hard tires between himself and Debs, which is obviously also pushing Alex up even further because he's almost 4 seconds away from the 2 cars behind him. Brendan doing well to just see them in the view up top, but not doing enough to be up close and personal fighting with them. I don't know if he wants to be, but still, at least he's not falling back too far back. Let's put it that way. So we'll go back to Matthias, who is hovering between the 3 to 5 tenths. He is getting, I think, much better exits and much better track control from Debs here. So I'd assume at the current moment he is the faster driver. There was unfortunately a yellow flags from Neil. I unfortunately did not see it, but that puts out a few pressure. Does lock up greatly there, Neil. It removes some pressure from the car that he was battling. Does he has a broken front wing? Yep. Oh, he hits the wall. This is constantly losing him time, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie gets the jump on him here. That's unfortunate for Neil, because he will be dropping as he almost hits the wall again there. as he will be dropping more places, and that's not what he wanted. So 9 laps in, still no safety car, and at this point I don't know if one will be coming out. There Matthias, we can see 5 tenths slower than his previous laps. I can't see a lot of yellow flags. That's Lewis. Lewis is all his efforts for now. Probably hit a couple walls. He was in P9, rode back down to P12 now, and he is attacking Ronskins. He wants that position back. It doesn't seem like he has a lot of damage, but he's right back into attacking. He's right back into racing. So we'll see. We're just enjoying Lewis doing his thing. He does have that 3-second time penalty. Ooh, he is wanting to attack Ronskis quite heavily, and as we can see, he is getting better exits, just like Matthias is doing. There is Sam also getting very close now to Raffers. I don't know if Raffers has a lot more ERS in store. He does, so that'll be a bit more complex for Samuel up front. SpaceX also looking to get in the midst of things, so he wants both positions on the drivers up ahead. So he's telling them fight a bit more, so I can get ever so slightly closer. He does have faster tires than both the drivers up front, and Sheldon, I haven't seen him in a while. He's up to P8. That's nice to see from him. Clinton also has not given up, but he is 16 seconds away from Need, so he is unfortunately slower. So Sheldon needs to be pushing 5 or so seconds to be driving with the cars up front, and currently they are battling it out, so obviously they will be slower than the rest of the pack. And it seems to be clean driving now, so at least not bad. Clean driving for everyone. Trying to put myself in what would be SpaceX's shoes right now, when they're just trying to focus as much as possible as he loses the car. As soon as I mention it, as soon as I talk again, some sort of mistake happens, which isn't all that bad, to be honest. At the end of the day, we do want a bit of drama between these drivers. So SpaceX really trying to push hard here. Between himself and Sam. Raffers seems to be pulling away a little bit, and Lewis back up to back up close. A personal with Ronskins, and as soon as we go there, he does lose his car a bit. Does a bit of a donut. Still a-okay with the drivers coming in. He does lose more positions. I think 2 more positions. Yep, down to P14. So right now, doing fairly well to hold on. Not a lot of battles to be going on. We may go back to Matthias. As we say that, that's a red ball, I think. That's Clinton again, underneath the bridge. Or on top of the bridge. Who is going slowly, letting some drivers pass through, because it hasn't been Clinton's day. We don't usually see the side of him. He's usually up there fighting with everyone, but Singapore is tricky, so we can't really blame anyone here. It is one of the trickier tracks. You need to have a lot of practice on it, and unfortunately there may have not been enough time to do so. So Matthias holding off onto Debs' side. Those tires now are at the time where I say they're past their prime and maybe starting to drop off. They still have a bit more life left in them, but they are in the 30%, and then obviously they start to drop off, especially having this many high-speed corners, these many corners where you have to pull or carry all that speed throughout the corner, and they start falling off rather quickly. So Matthias 7/10 away from Debs. Obviously that DRS is helping him gain that position. Debs goes a bit wide there, but still all good. We can see the medium runners as well. This is the time where they need to be pitting, so those tires have been falling off quite fast now. And SpaceX, looking at the two cars up ahead, Sam is also back into racing distance between himself and Ralph. Is doing very well to hold on to the same gap he had before, and SpaceX trying as much as possible to really utilize that flashing light up ahead and then try to maybe catch Sam by surprise and try to attack him up front. We'll see Sheldon as well, who has dropped off about 2 seconds from the cars ahead, so he's not really putting those medium tires to good use up to now, and he is dropping off a bit. Now Sam as well getting ever so slightly closer. We'll stay on SpaceX because that's where really we can see everything going through. We can see Sam going a bit wide there, and also there's a Red Bull behind them, which I presume is Clinton being lapped. So, oh, SpaceX almost losing the car. Didn't lose a lot of time, but is now within 1 second, so he won't get DRS going into this lap, and the cars up front will probably be losing. Yep, he will pit. He wants to go on those hard tires. As you can see, this is where it loses time. This is where these things need to be fixed, because it loses. That's about 5 seconds lost right there and then. It says the pit entry limit is on that line, but it's about, I would say, 100 meters away. Not 100 meters, maybe 50, 25 meters away. And that loses you time. That's, I mean, probably would have came out next to fighting Ronskins there, so, or even Berto at least. So even the Ferrari and Lewis, all of these cars he would have probably passed if he hadn't, or if the game had shown clearly where the pit entry is. However, it is your responsibility to know these things. Those cold tires are already pushing him wide, so he is losing even more time. So we'll go back to Lewis. He is racing, and he looks to be going down the inside. He doesn't, but that wing, look how close they are to racing. He's racing Luke at the moment. Lewis does have supposedly better tires, but he is getting a lot of wheel spin, as we can hear, and I don't know if those tires are better at this very moment. I mean, Luke's hards I think can be matching the same pace, but then I don't know. Yeah, those mediums are dropping off now, so a lot of mistakes can happen at this very moment. There's a couple yellow flags, and that's a McLaren off. That's Bertu. Yep, who, I don't know if he did lose the front wing, but there might be definitely damage going on in that. So Sheldon has not pitted yet, will probably pit very, very soon. I don't know if he will get that jump on SpaceX, but SpaceX's pit wasn't the best. Sam now also dropping off from Rafresh, from the car ahead. Matthias doing fairly well to hold on. We can see Alex not that far ahead, but there are a couple cars. Who was that? Oh, Debs also losing the car. Now Matthias is ever so slightly closer, trying to get a better exit from Debs, but as you can tell, this is Singapore. There's not a lot of time, there's not a lot of space to do that. That SpaceX also getting the jump on Lewis, who's now looking ahead at the Ferrari of Luke, who has better tires. He goes back onto mediums. SpaceX, I don't know why he did not go to hards for some reason, so that means SpaceX still has to pit yet another time here. He will get the jump on Luke, so that puts him up to 11th place, and is that Andrew? Nope, that's Clinton once again losing the car. And now I think there's yeah, the Ferrari of Sheldon looking to go down the inside. Obviously, he has to move over. It does get DRS, so it does help him maintain his pace a bit. And Sam back up to 6 tenths between himself and Debs. Matthias around 5 tenths. So you can see how these tires and the setup differ from driver to driver, especially in a track like Singapore, when you can have a lot of different types of setups, some which cater towards corners, some which cater toward more downforce, and some which cater to more high-speed areas where they can really benefit from, especially this straight that we're on right now. I think it's one of the only straights that does have a pretty tight corner going into it with DRS. As you know, is the drag reduction system. You're not meant to turn a lot in it, so it's surprising that that's allowed. As you can see, a lot of drag is mainly for a straight and not really for tight corners. You can see just about how tight Matthias PRIX takes that corner. But it is gaining him time. Right now, only cars battling it out is Matthias and Debs, who is now getting faster than Alex. So those tires of Alex are dropping off. 3.3 seconds. He already lost about 7 tenths. I don't know if that was because of a small mistake Alex might have done, but now it's getting ever so slightly closer between these drivers, and I presume Alex is waiting or trying to extend and go long. Trying to go long maybe for a safety car. That would definitely save him first place, let's put it that way. So you can see Jamie there. I think getting the jump up on Andrew, who goes on to soft tires for some reason. Those soft tires are not going to be lasting a lot, maybe 5 laps at most. So he'll need to be pitting very soon here, unless a safety car does come out. I think as well, another thing to keep in mind, that some people may have underfueled in Singapore. I know this is a prime track to underfuel, just because of the sheer amount of chance there is to have a safety car. And right now there's no sign that there will be a safety car, so this might ruin a lot of people's strategy. There's less than 16 laps remaining, about 15 or just about 16 laps or so, and everyone's doing fairly well. There's been a few broken wings, however nothing too bad between the drivers. They're also trying to maybe, keep their distance and only go for moves which they know they can pull off. Matthias constantly holding off the same pace that he is, which is impressive in itself. And Deb's also defending quite well, so Deb's using some ERS, but they're maintaining pace fairly well. Sam as well, next driver to be holding off his pace onto Rafferis. So very good racing between these two. They're doing fairly well between them. I don't know if Rafferis's ERS did drop. It did drop a bit, and then Sam's went up a bit, so that's nice to see. They'll be back challenging each other in no time. So SpaceX, next driver to be pushing his car, but gets a 3-second time penalty there for cutting the corner. You can exceed the track limits indeed. Keep in mind, SpaceX does need to be pitting again, because for some reason he went on the same tire. As he spins around there, goes a bit drifty onto the bridge, and now he's trying to push the Haas drivers up ahead, maybe pressuring them. He doesn't have a lot of traction, SpaceX here. He is being very early on the throttle, and he's really pushing here. Getting very close to the track, to the Haas drivers up ahead. So at least we know that those tires are definitely better. Look at that exit that he's getting. Maybe the Haas of Ian. Ooh, goes around the outside there. We did not expect that, but he has enough time to do it. I mean, you're not meant to cut that corner. He did technically, I believe, overtake around the outside. Jamie, the next person to be getting a 3-second time penalty. So this is expected. I mean, Singapore is tight, but it's also funny because there's walls in Singapore and you're not meant to be cutting a heck of a lot. Ian, the next person, did he leave the session? Maybe some issues from him, and his AI seems to be currently driving that car. So now Ian obviously dropping off from SpaceX, is looking to maybe decrease the gap between himself and Runza, which is about a second and 7/10. So Sam and Matthias PRIX seems to be the only two drivers, only two pack, let's put it that way, that are really just holding on to the same gap. And we might, or might not, just see an overtake or two coming into this. So Alex, 3.3 seconds. He's going long on those tires, and I don't really see the benefit of Alex going long. I mean, he is hoping for a safety car, and he is maintaining that gap. 3.3 seconds. He is dropping. We just about see from the Aston Martin off tricks, we can just about see the Ferrari up ahead. That's Sheldon, who does. Is that Sam pitting into the inters? We can see a couple of drops coming into it, but he's the first person to be pitting into the inters, and that might be the best strategy of the lot here. Neil, his teammate, also pitting on the inters, so he might be losing some time at the beginning, but given how wet this track can be, seeing from yesterday how fast this track can get wet, this might be the correct strategy from everyone. Alex is also holding on to those mediums. 2.6 seconds as he sees a car. Is that Sheldon? Nope, that's Bertu. He sees a car just spawning in front of him there. Alex, he's going long. I don't know when he's gonna pit, but I assume everyone's gonna be pitting from the inters. Nope, Alex does go a bit long. Debs as well, Tricks as well. This is where things will be getting heated now. So this is getting interesting. We prefaced again, Sam and his teammate Neil, the only two drivers, the only two pack that's on the inter tires because of the light rain that we see. We know from yesterday that this track can get wet very fast. So this may be the correct strategy for AlphaTauri here. That gap between Debs and Alex is dropping rather quickly. We can see Alex is really pushing those mediums, but we can also see rain falling very quickly here. This is also the time where I think a safety car is very possible, and that's exactly what Sam does not want to happen. So this can be golden for Sam, and he can go up and take at least the, I think, undercut on Raffers, who will need to pit again. Everyone in front needs to be pitting again. I wonder if it will get heavy enough to be pitting on those inters, because if it doesn't, we can see certain corners just not having enough traction. Debs now within DRS zone, and we all know who's the god of the rain here. Debs is very fast in the rain. We consider him the Max Verstappen of MFRL because he's a golden driver in the rain. He's very ballsy and he rarely loses the car. We'll see in this coming lap what will happen. I think Alex is staying out. Debs as well. He's following the car up front. He's really pushing those medium tires, Alex. And I don't exactly know what will happen. So we will see more drivers coming out with the intermediates. Alex is really dropping, but there's only really one place where Debs is able to get that position on. There's a sector 2 yellow flag. I don't know if it's between the Alpha Tauris. There's only, like I said, one real place where Debs can get a move on Alex. So Alex can really push those tires and maybe just hold Debs off for another lap here until they push and go into the intermediates and hopefully come out. Keep in mind, they may be losing time or they may be gaining it. I'm not exactly sure because of just this delta. We can see a couple drivers pitting onto the intermediates. We'll see if Sam's strategy will work wonders here. The rain is falling heavier than it was before. Sam getting very close, but he is up to 8th place now. This, like we said, is golden for him. There's a couple other cars who passed them, Luke being one of them, but he will need to be pitting again. I don't know who saw this coming, but we'll see what's going to be happening here. Matthias also doing very well to hold on to the state of those tires in the rain. We'll see if Alex will be pitting. I presume he is, but he's not. Everyone is staying out in the rain. They're really pushing those tires. They don't want to be pitting into the intermediates. And I think this is where Debs is really going to push all that ERS onto Alex up ahead. His teammate Brandon, Trix's teammate, will be probably pitting onto the intermediates, trying to gamble it. And I think this is where Debs, oh no, he does not, that's still 5/10. And Alex is still confident that there's enough time to be pulling away. But that rain is coming in heavy. I don't know if it will dry up. Brendan, I think changing that front wing again. I don't know where Sam is ending up. Far away enough for Brendan to still come out in 4th place. So doing fairly well to hold on. Now Rafa is getting closer, but still not close enough. This changes everything for this Grand Prix. Everyone seems to be about a second away from each other. We can see SpaceX pitting onto the intermediate. That gives Lewis the chance to obviously go in front of him. Rafa is also doing well to hold on to the car up front, and it seems like the mediums is faster than the intermediates here. Just about. Maybe in certain corners it is, and maybe in certain corners it isn't. So the intermediate runners are really wanting to just... Oh, the Debs... Yep, Debs did pit, but he pit onto the medium tires. He's hoping that the rain won't get heavier, so this is make or break for Debs here. And Matthias is just trying to push as much as possible. That's Ferrari up front. He does go down the inside with hard tires. He pushes the Ferrari wide, and he does get 1st place at the current moment. So that will drop him off into 2nd place. It hasn't really gone the way that Alex wanted to. He was 4 seconds ahead, and there's a Ferrari off, which is Alex's teammate. So heartbreak for Ferrari. It does hit the wing again for some reason, and probably has some light damage on it. Bertu comes out of the pits. A lot of people pitting on intermediates. Debs, the first person to be ballsy enough to stay on the intermediates. I don't think the other guys who were interns saw that rain really picking up. But now Raffers and Brendan really fighting, and as we all thought, the mediums are still good tires to be fighting. Brendan pushes Raffers wide there, and they're still fighting. They're still going side by side. Raffers does back out a little bit from it, and this is a great battle with two drastically different tires here. And it goes into certain corners where it's wetter than the rest. We can see a lot of position changes because of the pits here. Luke is changing that front wing and goes on to the intermediates here. We'll go back up to Raffers. Now Matthias is 5 seconds away as well. Matthias can probably pit and still come out ahead of the rest of the drivers. Alex went long enough so that he can go out on soft tires. I wonder if Debs is going to take that position. He is going to take that position. That's a nice view from him. And that's a Ferrari off again with new wet or intermediate tires. Wet tires, I was about to say. Intermediate tires. So that puts Debs up to P2 now, and he's about 26 seconds off Matthias. So I believe he can get the undercut on Matthias, especially if it keeps raining and he's on this bad of a tire. 23 laps on those tires, not ideal from Matthias. No other drivers who are battling it out. Matthias will, I believe, get... Oh, DRS is disabled, so that's where it all goes wrong. I wonder if Ron Skins went in the pit lane, is getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And Sam, which is nice to see, Raffers did decide to go in, so now it's picking up the rain. This is a bad gamble for Debs, because Matthias is much further ahead. Wow, Sam took a gamble and he's up to P5 with those tires. He still has a long way to go to be up to the podium, but has a great result for the AlphaTauri. We can see Raffers having to pit again twice, and we still don't know if this is the right strategy to call. If it is, both drivers ahead will have to pit, and they'll probably come ahead of Sam, or very, very close to Sam. We'll see what Debs is gonna do. Debs is staying out. Matthias took the gamble, and he's going on intermediates. Debs and Matthias are going very close to each other here. I don't know who's getting the move done, but that's Debs ahead of Matthias, who finds himself with intermediates against a very fast Ferrari coming behind him on soft tires as well. Goes wide there. The Red Bull did stutter him a little bit. Oh, this is the battle of the strategies here. There's also Clinton, who's looking to go and make a move on the McLaren on the intermediates, and it seems to be faster at least than Bertu. So that move will probably be done here. Leaves enough room for the McLaren, but right now there are no gaps, or respectable gaps, to have any sort of fight. So Jamie also fighting with Lewis and SpaceX, really trying to go long on those medium tires. This is crazy. It's been raining for a long time, so I do think that intermediates are slightly faster at the moment. And 3 seconds, that gap is dropping. That gap is dropping between himself and Matthias. You can just about see how faster Matthias is on the same exact corner. So Alex, yep, look at the amount of wheel spin there for Alex, dropping. He was less than a second away from Matthias here, and he's dropping by the second. Oh, this is heartbreak. We'll see what Debs is gonna do. Lewis gets a 3-second time penalty. Debs decides to stay out. He has 6 laps remaining, where Lewis there does spin out, and hopefully he doesn't really make an issue for the drivers coming right behind them. So that drops Lewis to P12. He stays in P12, in fact. 5 laps remaining for Debs to keep Matthias behind him, basically. There's I think there's, yep, a Red Bull who spins off, still with intermediates, but still icy enough to lose traction on that car. So we'll see what's gonna happen. I wonder, because this can go down to the wire. This can go down to the last lap here. 3 seconds, and that gap is indeed dropping. Debs here is desperate for the rain to just stop and for the track to start drying. And Matthias is hoping for the opposite. And as we can see, Alex did drop that time as he hits the wall there. As soon as we see him, he hits the wall. That wing is damaged, but he does have soft tires, not enough to probably put in a fast lap against these drivers. We see above the bridge here that it's still indeed raining, and he loses 3 seconds from that little mishap there. Matthias does seem to be the fastest driver on track here, and he is gaining time by the corner here, it seems like, on Debs. It's still raining on probably certain parts of the track and certain parts not, so it really is a gamble on what tire is best, but it seems like the intermediate is best at the moment. So Matthias' gamble was the best up to now, and he is gaining, as we can see, on Debs. Even on the straight he's gaining. It could go down to a matter of ERS though, so we'll see what will happen. We're sub 2 seconds now between the top 2 drivers. The gap is decreasing, the gap is going down, and Matthias really wants that to happen. And Brendan, oh, Alex does pit, he does lose a tire, he goes on to another soft tires, probably used tires, and Brendan now, well, not unfortunately, but unfortunately for Alex, goes into the podium places, but he does get 3 second time penalty. So this is, I mean, it wouldn't really affect him at the end if we finish like this, but Alex may be going for fast laps now, we'll see. Trying to add on to his points, but I wonder exactly what will happen. So we're going into lap 28 now, and Matthias is about 1.2 seconds away from Debs. That Mercedes does scoot over a little bit. Not really slowing down, but it's fine. It doesn't lose him that much time. And as we can see in this part of the track, especially in this part of the track, it's very wet. So this is where Matthias will be gaining a lot of time on Debs. The rest of the track, specifically here, is a bit less wet. But now we're already 6/10 away from each other. These top 2 drivers, there's a couple of yellow flags onto, I think, the 3rd sector. And yep, Debs is worrying at the moment. He's really... he needs to, I mean, really push that car, but it's no use against those intermediate tires. We won't skip here, but there's nothing really that's going to happen up to now. Raffers as well, the next driver to be fighting. There's Neil, who unfortunately 3 tires, we did not get to see that coming. There's a safety car! I think this is golden still for last lap safety car there. Is it a visual? No, it's a full safety car. Oh, this changes everything. This changes everything. So let's try to understand these strategies that are happening. Runskins with a drive-through penalty. He's up in the points, so that will drop him out of the points. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be 1 lap of racing left after this safety car until it goes in. Debs, I can bet he's going to be staying out, and he's going to try to use as much of that ERS as possible to keep Matthias out. Raffers, I mean, right now it's the closest between these 2 drivers, so he'll probably be pushing Sam's worst tires here and try to get that position on him. Alex, if he pits, he's going to be losing a lot of time. So he will not be pitting. And Debs and Alex will be hoping that the car dries up. That the track dries up. But it can go both ways. It can get even wetter than this. The rain doesn't seem like it's going to stop. So this is interesting. We may have 1 or 2 laps of racing at most. The safety car is still waiting for the leaders here. So I wonder what's going to happen. Debs taking his sweet time to reach the safety car. He does not need to ruin those tires any more than what's necessary. It's heartbreak for Matthias because he was less than, I think, 2/10 away from the lead of this race. Ian decided to pit. He sees a better opportunity to do so, and Lewis does get the jump on him here. So he goes out into P12. Ronskins, keep in mind, does have a drive to time penalty, so this can put Jamie further up in the points and Lewis further into the points. So that's nice to see from there. So Alex, Brendan, all this gap will drop and we may see some overtakes. It looks like the rain is picking up, and it does look like we will go racing on lap 30. I believe we will go racing on lap 30. Oh, this is interesting. I mean, there is a 30-second gap. Is that Runza? Runza's retired now. Oh, that's not nice to see. What happened to Runza's car? He hits the bridge, I believe. It's underneath the exit of the bridge. The rain is indeed picking up. At the end of sector 3 here, we can see Runza just spinning out into the wall, and he was further in the points, and that will unfortunately be the end of the Haas. Jamie has P8 at least in the bag. Good points for him. Sheldon very well in P7 at the moment, and all this rain is indeed picking up. Debs need as much heat into those tires as physically possible. He's really slowing down. He does not want... I don't know how this is going to go. It seems like we will go racing on lap 31, which is what Debs wants. And unfortunately for him... Oh, no. Matthias is right behind him. Okay, I did not see that. Brendan has some traffic up ahead. And where is Alex? Alex also has some traffic up ahead. So that's not what Alex wants. So it seems like the top 4 will indeed be staying. Are we back racing? It did go. Okay, we're back racing in lap 30. Look how Matthias is just pushing that driver. No traction for Debs there. The medium tires are not the best strategy, so Matthias does have this practically in the bag, and this only leaves heartbreak for Debs because he needs about 8 seconds. There's a couple drivers in the pits. I can see there's SpaceX going into the pits, switching from those medium tires. Alex dropped to P7 now. Wow, just changed everything from practically leading the whole Grand Prix down to P7. Sam is up to P4, but it still doesn't seem, or it can't, it's very possible. If Debs does do any type of mistake, that's a podium for Sam, who is a long-awaited podium up to now. And Brendan, it seems like it's gonna be a 1-2 finish here again for Aston Martin. It's just domination from Aston Martin in season 4. It's getting ever so slightly closer now, and he does make the move happen on Debs. It did not play well to him. 25 seconds in about 1.5 laps for Sam. If Debs pits, He may lose this position. And oh, this is getting crazy now. Rafris also getting closer. But that gap is dropping. Look how slow Debs is going. This has us on the edge of our seats here. Long-awaited podium for Sam. Debs takes the gamble and he is staying out. 18 seconds splitting these two drivers in just a couple of corners. Debs lost about 7 seconds. This is very possible for Sam here. And it might also be very possible for Rafford, which is right behind him. Debs always in P2. He was on pole going into this Grand Prix by 1 millisecond. 15 seconds splitting 40 now, splitting Debs, and we're still in the end of Sector 1. I think Sam has a podium in the back here as Debs is struggling for traction. 13 seconds for Sam to get a podium. This is looking very possible now for Sam. I wonder at what point the rain is picking up even more heavy here. 10.5 seconds now, 10 seconds, 9 seconds for Sam to get his long-awaited podium. Raffers is right behind him. Alex pitting, so he will be dropping even more places. Ronskin's serving his drive-through. He will probably take the position on Alex. Sam, 7.2 seconds, splitting himself. He can just about see Debs up, going into the final sector here. Debs is really hoping to get or stay behind the Aston Martins. There's a couple of yellow flags. Sam, 3.8 seconds, splitting him. You can see the rear wing of the Williams there. Going into the final corner. Sam is really pushing that car. And Debs is also really trying to get the most out of it. 1.7 seconds for Sam to get his podium here. Debs really trying to push as much as possible. They're really fighting for it. Last corner. Let's see if Sam can get this podium. It looks like he's going to get it. He gets the move done on Debs. Debs holds P4. But that is incredible from the AlphaTauri driver. He got a 25 second deficit to Debs. 2 tenths splitting the two drivers up ahead. That brings joy to my eyes, simply because Sam was my previous teammate. I want him to do well, and that's a beautiful podium, beautiful P3 for Sam. That's incredible from him. I'm so happy for him. Heartbreak for Debs. Our winner for this Grand Prix is PRIX, which is great to see again. I think he's in a 3-win streak now. Raffris holds P5 and Sheldon, which is a nice P6 for the McLaren. Ronskins had to serve a drive-through, and it seems like he did finish in P7. Alex, heartbreak as well for him. P8, Jamie, P9, and Ian, despite going out in Q2, secures some good points for the team. So we'll drag Trick here. We'll see what we can do. I don't know where exactly he is. I'll push him right now. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
So, Trix. I think it's been three consecutive wins for you, right?
Yes.
So, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the win. Lots of drama on all 3 Grand Prix, but I think this one secures the cake.
Yes.
A lot of things happening. I don't know if you noticed as well, but Debs did fall to P4, and as you're in the title fight with him, I'm sure you're happy to hear that. Sam did get a podium, and he secured 25 seconds in deficit. So that's how harsh the rain was at the end. It got really wet towards the end. So maybe walk me through it. You kept composure. You really tried to push Debs in the final lap. So yeah, walk me through it.
Yes. So, and the start, it was a decent start.
Obviously, yes, you had the medium, so he had a bit of an advantage for the start. But throughout the race, I stayed within the RS of Debs, which helped me. He helped me through it. And then he started lagging a bit, and then I noticed he disconnected. So I took the opportunity to overtake his AI. Then the rain started coming down. It was at first I wasn't sure I pitted for the right tires because at first it wasn't that heavy, the rain.
Yeah.
But after the safety car started pouring down, and obviously Debs was on mediums, so I had a big advantage on him.
Good, good, good. Yeah, and as you said, it was a gamble to choose the tire, especially going from intermediates. Debs did go on the medium tire, and you chose to go on the intermediates. I think Sam was also the first driver to take the gamble and go on intermediates, and as you can see, it did play towards that side. So Singapore is known to get wet really, really fast. So yeah, but good strategy. Another one to finish for Brendan and yourself. So I'm sure that's not the end of it. Congratulations again. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Good. So some comments from our Singapore Grand Prix winner there. He's still listening to me in the background, so it's a bit weird to say the ending. But yeah, I've seen some comments as well on Twitch, so thank you obviously for joining us and spectating. A lot of drama uh, happening in Tier 1, which is also nice to see, and not a lot of safety cars as well. Only one for Singapore and in the rain, so that's quite to see. Um, everyone's really, really on their A game on Tier 1, which is obviously good to see. So yeah, next week we do have Tier 2 on Tuesday at 9 p.m. So feel free to join us then. And then we obviously have the Tier 1 respective race on Wednesday at 9 p.m. So yeah, thank you again for joining, and we'll see you back next week. Peace.